Everyone in town, yeah, they're talking, not shouting it, not announcing it, just enough for you to feel it before you hear it. You notice it in the pauses, in the way conversations thin out when you pass by, in the way people glance up, then look away a second too late. It's subtle, but it's everywhere. And the strange thing is, you didn't plan this. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be watched. You didn't ask for curiosity to cling to you like static in the air. It happened because something inside you shifted. For a long time, you moved quietly through this place, observing more than speaking, listening more than reacting, letting the world underestimate you while you learned its patterns. You learned how people speak when they think no one important is listening. You learned how confidence often hides insecurity. You learned how noise is usually a cover for emptiness, and somewhere along the way, without making a scene, you changed. You stopped chasing approval, stopped explaining yourself, stopped shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant to contain you. And now the town, they can't name it, but they sense the difference. The way you stand a little more grounded, the way your eyes don't dart around the room looking for permission, the way you don't rush to fill silence anymore. Silence used to make you uncomfortable, now it works for you. Because silence makes people reveal themselves, they start projecting, filling the gaps with assumptions, writing stories about you in their heads, because not knowing feels unbearable, and every whisper they exchange carries the same undercurrent. Something is happening. You feel the attention wrap around you, not warm, not cold, electric. It follows you through streets you've walked 100 times before, through rooms where you were once invisible, through moments that used to pass without meaning. Now everything feels heavier. Every step, every glance, every decision. This is where most people panic. They either retreat, trying to disappear back into familiarity, or they overcompensate, performing, posturing, demanding to be seen. But you do neither. You remain steady, because you understand something now that changes how you move through the world. Attention is not an enemy. It's not a reward either. It's a responsibility, and responsibility requires composure. So you slow down instead of speeding up. You become more deliberate, not louder. You let people watch without giving them everything. That restraint unsettles them. They expected you to react, to show nerves, to stumble under the weight of being noticed. But you don't. You breathe through it. You let their curiosity exist without feeding it recklessly. You let their fascination sharpen instead of explode. Because deep down, you know this isn't about them at all. It's about you learning how to stand fully inside yourself. You can feel the internal shift happening in real time. Your thoughts clearer, your reactions slower, your sense of self less dependent on the room you're in. You no longer enter spaces asking, "Do I belong here?" You enter knowing you already do, and that certainty is disruptive. People are comfortable with predictable versions of you. They prefer the old patterns, the version they could read, dismiss, or define. This version resists definition. You don't argue. You don't correct misconceptions. You don't chase narratives. You let consistency speak. And consistency is powerful because it leaves no room for excuses. They watch how you handle pressure, how you don't rush to defend yourself, how you don't flinch when attention tightens. Some admire it quietly, some resent it silently, some feel inspired without knowing why, and some feel threatened, not because you're doing anything to them, but because your presence forces them to confront their own stagnation. You see it in their eyes, the ones who suddenly become overly friendly, the ones who grow distant, the ones who can't quite meet your gaze anymore. You don't judge them for it. You understand. Not everyone is ready to witness someone step into themselves. And that's okay, because this moment isn't about collecting approval. It's about alignment. You feel yourself aligning. Internally, externally, your actions matching your values, your presence matching your intent. That alignment gives you weight, not heaviness, gravity. People feel it when you enter. They adjust without realizing they're adjusting. You don't need to dominate the room. You don't need to control anyone. Your calm does the work for you. You've learned that true influence doesn't announce itself. It settles in, quietly, permanently. And as the whispers continue, you notice something else shifting. You're no longer consumed by what people think. You're curious instead, curious about who stays consistent, who watches closely, who projects loudly. Attention becomes information, and information becomes clarity. You start seeing the town, this world, for what it really is, a collection of people navigating their own fears, hopes, and limitations. Their whispers aren't about you. You're just the surface they're reflecting off. And once you realize that, their judgment loses its power. You stop carrying it, stop internalizing it, stop letting it shape you. Instead, you let it pass through. You become a point of stillness in the middle of motion. And that stillness, it's rare. It makes people uneasy because it can't be manipulated. They try to provoke reactions, test boundaries, look for cracks. But you don't give them what they expect. You remain composed because you know something they don't yet. This attention, this moment, it's not the destination, it's the threshold. You're standing at the edge of something larger than this town, larger than these whispers, larger than this phase of being watched. And every second you stay grounded, every moment you choose restraint over reaction, you're building something, momentum, not the loud kind, the unstoppable kind. You can feel it gathering beneath the surface, in your instincts, in your patience, in the way your decisions feel heavier, but also clearer. You're no longer reacting to life. You're positioning yourself within it. And the town senses that too. They don't know what's coming. They just know this isn't the end of the story. So they keep watching, and you keep moving forward measured, unshaken, because you understand now. This chapter doesn't close here. This is still unfolding, and you haven't even shown them what you're truly capable of yet. And now something settles. Not outside you, inside. The whispers haven't stopped. If anything, they've grown more focused, less scattered, less careless. Because the town isn't guessing anymore. They're realizing that this wasn't a phase, not a moment, not a coincidence. This is who you are now. You feel it in the way you wake up. There's no rush anymore. No anxiety clawing at your chest asking you to be smaller, quicker, quieter. There's a calm certainty instead, a grounded awareness that whatever waits for you outside, you can meet it without armor. Because armor was never your strength. Presence was. You walk through familiar streets and they feel different, not because they changed, but because you did. Your steps are measured, your posture relaxed, your attention inward instead of scattered outward, and people feel that. They feel how you're no longer pulled by reactions, how opinions slide past instead of sticking, how you don't lean toward approval or recoil from judgment. That balance, it unsettles them, because most people are pulled constantly by fear, by desire, by the need to be seen a certain way. You've stepped out of that gravity, and once you do, you can never fully go back. They still talk, of course. But the tone has changed, less speculation, more observation. They don't ask, "What is this?" anymore. They ask, "How far will it go?" You see it in their restraint, in the way they choose words more carefully around you, in the way they hesitate before underestimating you again. Because you've proven something without saying it. You don't need to announce your evolution for it to be real. And that realization, quiet, undeniable, creates distance, not isolation, clarity. You begin to see who aligns with your pace and who falls behind when you stop slowing yourself down. Some drift away, naturally, not dramatically, not bitterly. They just can't keep up with the silence you carry so comfortably now. Others lean closer, not to take from you, but to learn how to stand the way you do. You don't teach them. You don't explain. You let your way of being speak, because explanation is unnecessary once embodiment is complete. You've learned that power isn't in control, it's in choice. The choice to respond or remain still. The choice to engage or observe. The choice to move forward without dragging the past behind you. And now, when attention finds you, it doesn't shake you, it sharpens you. You know when to step forward. You know when to wait. You know when silence will say more than action ever could. The town feels smaller now, not insignificant, just contained. Like a chapter you've read fully and don't need to reread. You're no longer reacting to the environment. You're moving through it. And that's the moment the whispers lose their edge, because whispers rely on uncertainty, on cracks, on hesitation, and you no longer hesitate. Not because you're fearless, but because you're honest with yourself. You know what you're building, you know what you're becoming, and you know it doesn't require permission. That's the part no one prepared them for. They expected you to burn out, to overreach, to collapse under attention instead. You stabilized. You rooted yourself deeper, and now the energy that once buzzed chaotically around you feels contained, directed. Like a current flowing exactly where it needs to go. You don't announce your next move. You don't tease it. You don't threaten or promise. You simply continue. And that continuation, that quiet inevitability, becomes your signature. People stop asking if you're serious. They stop waiting for the reveal. They understand now, this is the reveal. Not an event, not a moment. A state. You've stepped into authorship over your own presence. And once that happens, the world adjusts whether it wants to or not. The whispers don't disappear, but they no longer define you. They orbit you instead, curiosity without control, attention without ownership. You've taken back the narrative simply by refusing to chase it. And here, at the end of this chapter, you feel something unmistakable. Stillness, not emptiness, not boredom, completion. You're no longer proving anything to the town. You're no longer reacting to the gaze. You've integrated it, and now, when people look at you, when they pause, when they wonder, it doesn't feed your ego, it confirms your alignment. Because the truth, the one they're only beginning to sense, is simple. The power was never in the whispers, never in the attention, never in the town. It was in your decision to stand fully as yourself when it would have been easier to shrink. And once that decision is made, truly made, nothing can take it from you. Not opinion, not fascination, not fear. You move forward now without resistance, and the world follows, not because you demand it, but because clarity always leads. And that's where this story ends, not with noise, but with certainty.